Hi, everybody. I'm a psychologist. I work at a university in the United Kingdom, but I have lived a long time in the United States, and I like to look at American politics, especially US elections, because the nice thing about it is, I think, is that there's so much drama in it, and that is a positive thing, I think, about a democracy. Because with the drama in politics, you engage people, and Americans, I would say, are really good at that. And here in this video, I would like to look at some of the ways people are using humor. And humor is not used that much by politicians because there is the risk that if you make many jokes, as actually Trump do, you risk probably to be taken less seriously. Especially, I would say, if it is, for example, not authentic. But Trump is actually, I would say, quite good at it. He has a specific humor style. If you're interested in humor styles in research and psychological research, or if you want to test your own humor style, look at the link below the video to my humor style questionnaire, which is actually developed by other psychologists, which is a professional psychological test. Let's here look at quickly at a clip from a recent MAGA rally in North Carolina, and this is actually it's sort of funny.
I think I'm going to stand. This chair is the most uncomfortable chair I've ever. First of all, it spins. And the one thing I don't want is to fall on my ass because that will be the only story. They'll say, sir, you did great. Too bad you fell. That would be the only story. So I'm not sitting in that sucker. I think it's a booby trap. That was put there by Kamala.
Well, that brings me to my next.
And that, of course, is actually a very funny joke that he made there about the chair. So it is sort of like a small thing in life. You could almost say it's sort of like small talk, small humor. But it was not just that he made a joke about the chair. He knew how to also attack his opponent in this, Kamala Harris. Obviously, Kamala Harris has nothing to do with the chair. Everybody in the audience knows that, and that's not the point. He just it is it's humor, and it is actually it's sort of like an aggressive humor style because you take it out on another person. So this is actually a good example, and it's just a clip I saw recently. But let's have a look at some other clips.
Thank you very much. We got a lot of good-looking men in this audience, don't we, huh? And a lot of good-looking women also, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to revisit something you've talked about.
Now, this is, of course, it is a good example of his sort of like small talk humor. It is an easy way. It's sort of like it's nice. It's not a real joke. It's just it's lighthearted. It's lighthearted talk, which is part humor is part of the function of humor psychologically is to take the tension away. If you make a joke with somebody else, yeah, you'll relax, and that is quite good because sometimes tensions can be high between people. Yeah, when you have an interaction, and when you laugh, you'll relax. And you see that happens here, and he is doing that with his audience. So I think he makes his audience feel comfortable by doing this. So again, I mean, it's a good example of how Trump actually does this. And again, as I said, I believe this is really a winning formula. It is a really good style. Now, let's have a look further what he does. So now I show you sort of like an example of something that is more aggressive, where Trump uses like the word crazy, for example, to describe his opponents. Let's have a look at this one here.
What a honeymoon period. They kept talking about the honeymoon. Because I beat Biden, we were up 21 points by their numbers, and they went to him, crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's crazy as a bedbug. Crazy Nancy, but others too. They went to him and they said, Joe, you're out. He said, I'm not getting out. And they said, no, you're out. We're going to use the 25th Amendment because you're frickin' crazy, man.
So the interesting thing here that he said, that, she's as crazy as a bedbug. I mean, like I don't know where that comes from. But it is it for his base, people who agree with him, it works, and that is this relaxing function, but it is quite aggressive. And here we go again with an attack on Biden, and look how he does it. And the interesting thing I think here to note in the clip that I show you now is that, in my opinion, no other politician would dare to do this. I mean, not because they don't dare to insult other people, because insults, both parties do that. They insult each other. They say, for example, about Trump, they say he's lying. But to really make a joke, I think you have to be able to do that in a funny way. And I think some of politicians probably they would be able to do that in private, but they wouldn't dare to do it, I think, on stage like he does. And look at this clip. I mean, because this is quite an interesting clip to look at here.
And then he goes to the beach. He goes to the beach all the time. Somebody told him he looks great in a bathing suit. Typically, an 82-year-old man doesn't look great in a bathing suit. There may be a couple, but I'm not sure I've ever seen it. But he has an ability that I wish I had. He's able to fall asleep stone cold out in front of the media. They're taking pictures. Who the hell wants to sleep in front of the media? I wish I had the ability to sleep like that. I wear it. It's true. No, he falls asleep. Think of it. He's laying down on the beach. He has those chairs. They're meant for old people and children to lift. They weigh about like 6 ounces, right? They're aluminum, like 6 ounces. And he has a hard time moving them. They have to bring kids over to move them.
So that's interesting, isn't he? How he does this, how he makes fun of Biden in his bathing suit. I mean, this was, I wouldn't say this was really a great joke or something like that, but it is a humor. It is what we call aggressive humor, like making fun of someone, making fun at the cost of someone else. And it's interesting that to use this in politics again. I think it is unusual, and that makes him, of course, a unique candidate. And we all know that Trump is unique. So let's have a look at some more of these. Now this clip here where Trump imitates Biden. Actually, I would say it's almost like a famous clip because again, it is such a good example of aggressive humor, which is not frequently used in politics. So watch this if you haven't seen it.
But he always goes like this. And then there's a stare right there, right? Then he starts. And then Secret Service, by the way, Secret Service, but they're incredible people. So
the interesting thing here, I think, is that you hear the audience actually laughing at it because it's almost like stand-up comedy. Now, why can Trump do that? I think in part, it's part of his personality that he can do this, and of course, he has had a lot of training by being a talk show host. So very interesting. Let's have a look at some of other examples. Now, here is another one. This is, of course, from the 2016 election, where he did basically the same with Hillary Clinton. And the interesting thing, I think, in analogy, is that I remember very well that in the media, many people said, well, Hillary Clinton is sort of like ill. And it was sort of like a conspiracy theory. And in the end, I think it was not at all true. Let's have a look at this. So he is imitating Hillary Clinton.
But here's a woman. She's supposed to fight all of these different things. And she can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. She's home resting right now. She's getting ready for her next speech, which is going to be about 15 minutes.
And again, what we saw here was sort of like a humorous attack. So it's aggressive humor. Do you know what aggressive humor is? Look at my website below the video. I explain it in detail. Not all people use that. It's a specific style. Some people have it. Some so like stand-up comedians use that style as well. It can be really funny, but of course it's not nice if you're on the receiving end of it. And like, think of it whatever you think about it. This video is not about values. This is not here. I'm not here to criticize any of the politicians. I'm here just to sort of like point out what sort of humor style this is, and I think why it is effective. Now, people like humor. Obviously, humor is relaxing, and it's almost a surprise that politicians are not better in using it. Now, that's because that's sort of like not in their training. But you can. So we have examples of. Take for example President Zelensky. He was before he started. He was a comedian, so he has that style. And if you look at the UK, we have somebody like Boris Johnson, who was the Prime Minister of the UK. Which is sort of like a job somewhat comparable to like head of state, president in the United States. And again, he mastered these sort of like skills from his job as journalism. So you have these transferable skills that you can bring in. Now, Donald Trump does not only do this with Democrats, he also does do with people in his own party, when he's up to them. So he uses this strategy always. And you see this actually, this was in a debate. This was from November 2023. And here he is imitating in a mocking way Ron DeSantis, who is a Republican and is, was also. Wanting to become presidential candidate.
And his feet, it's weird. Because his cowboy boots. So they have a high heel outside, but inside you got a big deal going on. And he's walking like. No, he's walking off the stage like he's trying to balance himself. I thought he was wearing ice skates.
So again, I mean, it is a good example of him just making fun of people. And think of it whatever you want. So basically, what I've done here is I've given you some shortcuts, like that were really easy to find. I mean, because Trump does this so often. If you find this interesting, do the test yourself. It takes only 2 minutes to find out what humor style you actually have yourself. And maybe you have a humor style, you're not aware of it. Maybe you use aggressive humor a lot and you're not aware of it. Humor styles are not only interesting, but also they tell you something about, maybe it's not that nice actually to use an aggressive humor style in all situations. It can be very offending to, you know, I would not recommend using it, unless you're maybe a stand-up comedian, you can afford to do it. But at the same time, it can also work against you, right? Because yeah, some people might find it funny, but other people are offended, and certainly if you're on the receiving end, it's not nice. So that's my video on Donald Trump. What do you think? What do you think? Leave that in under the video. I have a question for you. What do you think is the funniest moment of Donald Trump in one of his rallies? Give me a link below the video and then we can have a look. Thank you for watching, and more videos about the election will come on this channel.